Your Excellencies, dear participants, guests, media representatives, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the 8th EU Strategy for the Adriatic-Ionian Region Forum, hosted by Bosnia and Herzegovina's presidency, organized by the Directorate for European Integration of Council of Ministers of Bosnia and Herzegovina and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Today, we greet our guests in a country which has so much to offer, in natural, historical, and human capacities as well. Bosnia and Herzegovina, about a year ago, had formally took over the one-year chairmanship of the Adriatic and Ionian Initiative and the EU Strategy for the Adriatic and Ionian region. Youth has been defined as one of the priorities of this chairmanship. That's why if you look around, you will see a significant number of young people here with us today. I would now kindly invite His Excellency, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Bosnia and Herzegovina, Elmedin Konaković, to deliver his opening remarks and welcome our guests.
Good morning, all of you, Excellencies, Ministers, Mr. Secretary General of the Adriatic Union Initiative, representatives of European Commission, ambassadors, dear guests, distinguished colleagues, participants of the 8th EUSAIR Forum, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen. Let me start with thanking you all for coming here to Sarajevo today to participate in numerous decisions panels, roundtables, to bring your experiences and your vision, how to jointly improve so many aspects of regional cooperation in this very demanding period of our history. I would like to extend my warm welcome to our guests from civic society, academia, youth organizations. There is no doubt that our governmental and other stakeholders will do their best to summarize our achievements and to plan and envisage our future partnership. Bosnia and Herzegovina took over the chairmanship of the Adriatic and Ionian Initiative and the presidency of the EUSAIR is one of the most delicate moments in recent several decades of European history. Very slow and uneven recovery from the pandemic COVID-19, war in nearby Ukraine, and consequent energy crisis, disrupted chains of supply have made this period of time very challenging for all of us. Under such circumstances, most of our countries have faced a setback of at least stagnation in achieving sustainable development goals and diminishing poverty. The situation has revealed the level of our preparedness and resilience to face those difficulties. Maybe the main value of those lessons learned from the mentioned challenges is the understanding that only together we may be successful in overcoming those negative effects. Bosnia and Herzegovina has envisioned the EU enlargement process for the Western Balkans as a top priority during the EUSAIR presidency. I am delighted that all EU member states from the Adriatic and Ionian region are friends of the enlargement. I have to say it, and all others, because we had a meeting right now at Brussels yesterday or 2 days ago, and I'm really satisfied with the new approach of all member states from the European Community regarding enlargement of European Community. And we appreciate their support in this long and challenging path. We are deeply convinced that small but visible steps in our regional cooperation between EU and non-EU countries could make a difference. Just after the opening ceremony of the forum, we will have a high-level panel on this very important issue. We expect a very fruitful exchange of views and ideas among heads of delegation of all member states and our friends from the European Community, from European Commission, and a very strong political message. Needless to say, European integration of Western Balkans has to be equally important for the European Union as it's for us. Thanks to the enormous efforts made by many stakeholders, governmental, civic society, academia, youth organizations, generous assistance by the European Commission, Adriatic and Ionian Initiative Secretariat, together with our Bosnia and Herzegovina team from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but especially extensive organizational work done by the team from our Directorate of European Integration. This forum will show how much we have strengthened mutual cooperation in our macro region. I would like to underline that under our presidency, EUSAIR had made a significant progress on the revision process of the action plan and strategy, and we hope that during the upcoming Croatian presidency, this very important work will be finalized. that will enable us to better streamline our efforts in dealing with the contemporary challenges. Adriatic and the Ionian region, as one of 4 European macro-regions, is guiding these activities through defining and implementation of projects related to foster economic and social development, environmental protection, energy and transport connectivity by involving many stakeholders. Also, it strongly supports coordinating efforts by member states in promoting shared cultural heritage, which assists the region to become an even more attractive destination for tourists. Furthermore, let me say that Bosnia and Herzegovina strongly supports more frequent exchange of experiences among the European macro-regional strategies where we consider synergy with EUSDR. I said, okay, EUSDR, yeah, as most important for us. Besides that hard work during the forum, I hope that all of you will have an opportunity to feel and enjoy Sarajevo cultural heritage and friendly atmosphere. Is this place where East meets West, East meets West, where different religions coexist for such a long period of time, where you will feel the richness of Bosnian cuisine, which is the mixture of several different influences. Once again, let me thank you all for your presence and contribution, and I wish you a very pleasant stay in our capital city. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Konakovic. Dear guests and dear participants, today, as a country which is a candidate for membership in the European Union, Bosnia and Herzegovina has complex tasks to fulfill, which have the essential goal to make the way of life and the society here better. The acceleration of the EU enlargement process is important for all of the countries of the Western Balkans, and this is one of the topics which will be highlighted through this event. I would now kindly invite Edin Dilberovic, Director of the Directorate for European Integrations of Council of Ministers of Bosnia and Herzegovina, to welcome our participants.
Thank you very much. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the font is not helping. Without the glasses, doesn't matter the size. It is an immense pleasure to see you here today and welcome you to Bosnia and Herzegovina for the 8th EUSAIR Forum, which comes as the most significant event of the Bosnia and Herzegovina one-year presidency over the Adriatic-Ionian Initiative and EU strategy for the Adriatic-Ionian region. I'm proud to say that in cooperation with our partners, we managed to put together an ambitious presidency program, initiated and pursued a number of important discussions pertaining the implementation of the EU macro-regional strategies and organized so many significant events related to different pillars of the strategy. Among our colleagues from the Directorate for European Integration, especially thankful to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Bosnia and Herzegovina and project as the EUSAIR facility point and support to the Bosnia and Herzegovina presidency over the EUSAIR, there are those who had even few sleepless nights working throughout the process, even the last night as far as I understood. But thanks to all of them, it paid off. I also wish to thank to the region, especially to the region Mark, for supporting us in organizing and enabling online participation of the forum, so we are also viral in a sense. With our peers from the participating countries, both EU members and candidates for the EU membership, we equally contributed and streamlined discussion, searching common solutions to shared challenges. Revision of the European Union strategy for the Adriatic and Ionian region and its action plan, discussions related to the youth involvement and governance structures of the EUSAIR embedded the EU macro-regional strategies in existing funding programs connecting local and regional actions with European priorities, promoting positive effects of the implementation of strategy on development of business, civil society organization, and especially youth. All these important shared challenges were addressed, and through that, which we find crucial as the candidate for the EU membership, the important role of strategies in enlargement process is especially emphasized. Integration to the EU is most about adoption and implementation of legislation, aligned with the EU acquis. The challenging task can be strongly promoted and facilitated by implementation of strategies. Also, Europeanization process is connected to implementation of conditions for membership which EU considers to be strict but fair. However, Europeanization through contacts, sharing the table and resolving common regional challenges and problems is perhaps even more visible. I'm confident that sharing the table today and tomorrow, and more importantly, our views, ideas, knowledge, and experiences, we will contribute even more to this visibility of Europeanization. Robert Schuman, one of the founding fathers of the EU, said that Europe will not be made all at once or according to a single plan. It will be built through concrete achievements which first create a de facto solidarity. With sincere hope and belief that there is European solidarity, I wish you fruitful discussion and enjoyable stay in Sarajevo. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director Dilberovic. Now, as the Minister has said in his previous addressing, in times of crisis, such as the one resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic, the feeling of loneliness is overcome by belonging. With its help in such a global crisis, the European Union has shown commitment to the countries of the Western Balkans. However, in order to formalize belonging to the European community, the countries of the region must show commitment to reforms and commitment to building societies in which people will want to stay. I now invite you all to listen to a message which Oliver Varhelyi, Commissioner for Neighborhood and Enlargement, has sent to this forum.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, many thanks for inviting me to the annual forum of the EU strategy for the Adriatic and Ionian region. Today, I cannot be with you in Sarajevo, but it is a pleasure to address the audience with this video message. First, I would like to thank and congratulate the Presidency of Bosnia and Herzegovina for the leadership and commitment during this year's chairmanship of EU strategy for the Adriatic and Ionian region. Bosnia and Herzegovina started in 2023 with strong positive incentives. Candidate status is a clear message to the people that their country is part of our European family. The EU path is open, but requires Bosnia and Herzegovina to deliver concrete reforms to improve the quality of life of its citizens. Following the entry into office of the new Council of Ministers in January and of the government of the federation entity in late April, now all conditions are set for the new authorities to focus their work on addressing the necessary EU reforms. On our side, we keep our commitment to support the region to face the economic and energy crises. The €1 billion worth of energy support package and the €30 billion worth economic and investment plan for the Western Balkans will help to provide sustainable economic growth and social development in the region. To date, we have approved 40 flagship projects in sustainable transport, environment, climate, clean energy, human capital, and digital and private sector support, amounting to €5.7 billion in overall investments, out of which €1.8 billion come in the form of EU grants. Improving physical infrastructure is essential, but on its own, more is needed. We also need to reduce administrative trade barriers. In this respect, implementing the common regional market is an important element to maximize the benefits of the economic and investment plan. In this context, the EU strategy for the Adriatic and Ionian region is crucial in promoting connectivity, cooperation, and coordination for sustainable development. More specifically, this strategy will help to provide long-lasting solutions for common challenges, speeding up green and digital transitions, offering opportunities in welfare, and decreasing regional disparities, to name just a few. Moreover, this strategy can offer better solutions for the blue economy in the region to ensure the sustainable development and well-being of coastal communities that depend on it. The EU strategy for the Adriatic and Ionian region is also a unique platform to connect the Western Balkans with the European Union in many tangible ways, for example, through cross-border cooperation projects that enable the integration of common policies and regulations, as well as promotion of economic development. That is why you have a great opportunity and a responsibility to advance the cooperation, which will support the integration of the Western Balkans into the EU economy. I wish you a very productive forum and a fruitful discussion.
Now we know that the European Union has been using regional policies as tools to boost economic growth and jobs and improve quality of life through strategic investments. Thanks to this active form of EU solidarity, people in less developed regions can seize the opportunities raised by the largest markets in the world. Social cohesion, on the other side, as we learn from social sciences, refers to the strength of relationships and the sense of solidarity among members of a community. And cohesion is actually one of the basic values of European Union. It is a much needed value in our societies as well. Once again, I invite you all to listen to a message sent to this forum by Elisa Ferreira, Commissioner for Cohesion and Reforms.
Dear participants, dear Europeans, 2 weeks ago, at the celebrations of Europe's Day, we took stock of all that Europe means for our member states and citizens. Democracy, prosperity, and most of all, with many challenges ahead of us, the guarantee that we face them together, in solidarity, as part of the same family. And this journey continues, also on the Adriatic-Ionian region, where 5 candidate countries from the Western Balkans are in the process of joining this European family. Of course, I'm referring to Albania, to Bosnia, Herzegovina, Montenegro, North Macedonia, and Serbia. Since 2014, through the strategy of the Adriatic and Ionian region, these countries have been taking steps forward towards Europe, collaborating on an equal footing with 4 member states to achieve joint milestones in at least 3 significant areas. First, milestones in terms of shared prosperity. Economic development has been a key goal for this strategy since its launch. Cohesion policy resources have been put at your disposal to promote economic integration. For example, cohesion has supported your investments in transport networks, including roads, railways, ports, and airports. These investments are creating connections and promoting integration in the wider region. Secondly, through this strategy, you are achieving milestones in terms of sustainable development. The strategy recognizes environmental challenges, including pollution, climate change risks, and use of natural resources. For example, you have shown a strong commitment to address marine litter and plastic pollution through initiatives such as the pilot project on marine litter and the Clean Adriatic Sea Initiative for future generations. Moreover, the strategy promotes a just transition to the low-carbon economy with a focus on renewable energy, sustainable transport, and energy efficiency. You are also promoting sustainable tourism, which has a double benefit: environmental protection and local prosperity. Third, through this strategy, you are achieving milestones in terms of a key European value, which is cooperation. Our Europe is built on this value. It is not for nothing that our motto is united in diversity, because we are countries, regions, and people who have set aside past differences to work together for our common goal. And through Interreg, you have invested in collaboration, not just within the Adriatic-Ionian region, but also beyond. In so doing, you have not only exchanged expertise, good practices, but also built ties with your neighbors. And this is the spirit of Europe. And these have been the achievements of the strategy so far: economic development, environmental protection, cultural exchange, and above all, cooperation. My appreciation in particular to the presidency of Bosnia and Herzegovina for your work in promoting this cooperation and in promoting joint priorities such as what we call twin transition. But the journey continues. As we look to the future and the revision of the strategy, there are 3 future milestones that I would propose for your reflection. First, the challenge of brain drain. The first initiative from the European Commission this year was on harnessing, we called it like this, harnessing talent in European regions. The objective is to help those regions that have fallen into a talent development trap or risk doing so. We must create opportunities to keep highly skilled individuals in their regions of origin so that they can be a driver of growth and convergence across Europe. Second, the challenge of funding. Sustainability of the strategy depends on the support it gets from the national and regional authorities. Alignment of funding programs with the priorities of the strategy is essential to achieve its objectives and to ensure that its benefits are felt across the region. My third suggestion for reflection is the Youth Council. This is an important initiative, and it is essential that we hear the voice of young people. We should not just work for them, we must also work with them. I would like to close with the words of Robert Schuman on that first Europe Day at the foundation of the European Community. He said, "Europe will not be built all at once, but step by step, by concrete acts of solidarity." With this strategy, you are taking those most European steps of cooperation and solidarity. I urge you to continue, and the European Commission is committed to walking this road with you. I wish you a productive annual forum. Thank you very much.
Isn't it always a bit awkward after the video messages? You never know whether to applaud to the screen or not. But anyway, thank you for that. I would like you all to imagine a vision where all our regions and cities could actually have people who would be able to realize their full potentials. Now, exactly this is the vision represented by the EU Directorate General for Regional and Urban Policies. I would now like to invite the director of this directorate, Slavomir Tokarski, to deliver his welcome remarks.
Well, dear Minister Konakovic, dear ministers, ambassadors, representatives of member states and partner countries of EUSAIR, dear ladies and gentlemen. Well, I will not quote Robert Schuman. So, first of all, I would like to say how pleased I am to be here with you in Sarajevo. And I would like to thank the colleagues from Bosnia and Herzegovina for organizing this 8th annual forum and for hosting us in this beautiful city. I would also like to congratulate you for your active and very successful chairmanship over the last 12 months. As my Commissioner Ferreira said, providing a credible enlargement perspective for the Western Balkans is a priority for the Commission. And in this context, it is important that we recognize the important role that EUSAIR plays in promoting cooperation, reforms, and convergence in this region, and in helping candidate countries align with key EU priorities such as green and digital transition. So during the next 2 days, we'll be speaking about the ongoing revision of the strategy, about updating it and introducing new priorities and actions. And I believe that a revised and a renewed strategy that is relevant to the key challenges of this region will also give an important boost to cooperation and results. Some of the new areas that the revision is focusing on include social inclusion, sustainable rural development, and youth involvement. I wanted to say a couple of words about the last one. So first of all, I would like to thank the Presidency for putting youth high on the agenda and for including many agenda items on and with youth. I hope that we have here many young people, and they will stay with us for the next 2 days. And I encourage you all to speak up to make your voice heard, and to share your thoughts and views on the challenges, opportunities, and perspectives of this region, of your region. I believe that the strategy can and should play a bigger role in empowering youth, and young people have to be a part of this regional cooperation in all-inclusive manner. This means that they shall be involved in the strategy revision and be able to share their ideas for a future they will be part of. Last year, the governing board took the decision to establish a youth council for the strategy. We are not there yet, but I truly hope that a year from now, we will have a representative of the newly established youth council among the speakers in the next year's opening session. Finally, I would like to remind all of us of the need to continue working on translating our political commitments into concrete actions. This strategy should deliver real and visible added value to the citizens, to the people in this region. So I believe that with the current revision of the strategy, we have the opportunity to make a big step in this direction. Let me conclude by thanking once again the Presidency for hosting us so well and providing us with the necessary and very beautiful conditions and surroundings to ensure a successful forum. I look forward to fruitful discussions with all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Tokarski. I must say that every time that youth is mentioned in your speeches, it gets a bit warmer around my heart, because I believe this is an important topic, and I know that it will be addressed through different activities in this forum, and I promise I'm still young legally by domestic and international laws as well, so I'm here to represent the youth. Now, working together on the areas of common interest, promoting economic and social prosperity and growth by improving by improving the attractiveness, competitiveness, and connectivity of our region are the basic goals of the EU strategy for the Adriatic and Ionian region. To achieve this, synergies and opportunities for socioeconomic development must be strengthened. Exactly, this is the aim of the Forum of Adriatic and Ionian Chambers of Commerce. So it is my pleasure to invite the president of this forum, Jozef Tomasz, to welcome all of our participants as well.
I will start with Beethoven, of course, yes. Excellencies, distinguished ministers, honorable representatives, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure being here at the annual EUSAIR Forum representing the civil society of the Adriatic-Ionian area. Let me first thank the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Bosnia and Herzegovina, Mr. Elmedin Konakovic, and the Director of European Integration of Bosnia and Herzegovina, Mr. Edin Dilberovic, for the invitation and for the warm hospitality here in Sarajevo. I would also like to thank the European Commission, in the particular DG Regio, with whom cooperation has been fruitful through the year of the Bosnia and Herzegovina Chambership. I bring you also the greetings for the President of the Adriatic-Ionian Network of Universities, UniAdrion, Mr. Durakovic, and the President of the Forum of the Adriatic and Ionian Cities, FAIC, Mr. Seri, with whom we operate in close contact. The Forum of the Adriatic-Ionian Chamber of Commerce, which I represent, is a non-profit, voluntary and transnational association that puts together around 40 chambers of commerce of the region. Since 2001, the Forum has been operating with the aim of synergies and enhancing opportunities for the socio-economic development of the Adriatic and Ionian area, a political commercial basin that has always been considered strategic for the economic and commercial opportunities it offers. In fact, the area represents more than 4 million enterprises and 70 million inhabitants, generating 39.5 billion euros of exports among the 9 countries. 9.4 million passengers by the sea, 207 million tons of goods by sea transport. The importance of the three fora, which together counts about 140 institutions, widespread in all the countries, has been also recognized in the official documents of the European Commission as the main representatives of EUSAIR civil society. From year to year, our strategy is confirmed and further endorsed in the declaration of the Adriatic and Ionian Council EUSAIR ministerial meeting adopted at the end of each chairmanship. The world of economics, city policies, research and training must necessarily act together through enhanced dialogue and joint decision and strategies in order to deliver tangible and concrete results to the citizens of our common region. For these reasons, the three fora of chambers of commerce, university and cities has been jointly engaged in activities and projects financed directly by the European Commission and other national and European funding sources, which put young people and businesses at the center. To name a few examples: mobility and transnational student traineeship, as well as mobility among small medium enterprises, digital and circular economy and studies on how to bring the Green Deal to the EUSAIR, sustainable tourism, creative and cultural industries, especially the enhancement of cultural heritage through UNESCO sites. Activities directed towards female entrepreneurship. I therefore invite you to attend and contribute to the next edition of the Adriatic and Ionian Congress of Female Entrepreneurship, which will be held in Montenegro in October. Some of these activities are also realized through the network founded by DG Regio, called INUREC Plus, which sees, in addition to the Chamber of Commerce, cities and universities, the participation of the regions represented by Adriatic and Ionian Euro region, and therefore guaranteeing an even wider territorial coverage. This year, the EUSAIR Forum focused its attention on brain drain, its consequences. We could even call it human capital flight, as it represents a key issue with the risk of slowing down the cultural, technological and economical progress of the countries from which young people flee. As civil society, we perfectly recognize the risk connected with it, and therefore it's not by chance that many of our activities and initiatives revolve around young engagement. We strongly pursue the idea that it's necessary to bond education of youth, work life, and the two of them with the local communities and local policy makers. And therefore, an interconnected cooperation between universities, Chamber of Commerce, and cities is essential for our young generations to feel seen and represented, and in order to provide them with the right conditions to stay in the region. It is essential to people's aspiration to skills with the real opportunities on the job market, especially for the green and digital transition on the economic recovery. 2023 has been listed as the European Year of Skills, and the three fora also supports young people in developing soft and hard capabilities, how more than ever necessary to keep up with the ever-changing demands on the market. I therefore invite you to participate in the events organized by the three fora and the INUREC Plus initiative happening today and tomorrow on the topic of green and circular economy, and also the Adriatic Ionian Youth Organizations Forum. I also invite you to attend the roundtable organized in cooperation with the Adriatic and Ionian Initiative on boosting synergies between academia and business for the economic growth of the Adriatic Ionian region. In conclusion, as also reported by the latest declaration of Belgrade, Isola and Tirana, the fora of civil society can provide added value to the EUSAIR by delivering tangible and beneficial results and by contributing to the implementation of the action plan. And therefore, we are always ready to give our support and to cooperate with the EUSAIR governments and the future presidents. To conclude, I want to thank the Permanent Secretariat of the Adriatic and Ionian Initiative, both Ambassador Castellanata and Pigliapoco, for their constant support to our activities. And let me also thank the Bosnian and Herzegovina presidency, in particular Ambassador Prica and Mr. Djemic, for the excellent cooperation established with the three fora. Good luck to the incoming EUSAIR Croatian Chambership. You can count on our support and cooperation. Welcome to Lijepa Naša. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tomasz. So yeah, to kind of conclude all of this, we can think about all of the messages that our speakers, both live and through video messages, have sent us. But for a change, I would like to remind you of the message concerning young people. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow, the forum contains numerous activities that take place at the same time. They are focused on topics such as sustainable tourism, mobility, transport, economics, green policies, but to a significant extent, the topics are focused specifically on young people. In everything you do and during everything you talk today and tomorrow, please keep in mind that you are deciding and working on the futures of my generation. That is why Bosnia and Herzegovina, as the host of this forum, wishes you a warm welcome and successful work. And now it is my pleasure to hand over the stage and the microphone as well to my colleague, Esmir Milovic, who will actually first of all introduce us to all of the panelists and then moderate the ministerial panel that follows up immediately. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. So in a few minutes, we'll start the high-level panel, so don't leave your seats. Please stay, so I don't need to call you back. On a high-level panel, we'll have 2-3 ministers, if I see correctly, and some other representatives of countries who are in this process, but we need just a few more minutes till we fulfill all technical issues. I believe that we can slowly start. First panelist whom I'm going to call is our minister, Minister Elmedin Konakovic. So please take your seat. All countries, they have their names put on the chair. Minister Grlić Radman of Croatia, please take your seat. You're, I believe, next to Minister Konakovic. Also, we have Aleksandar Javšek, Minister of Cohesion and Regional Development of Republic of Slovenia. He will take his place next to Minister Konakovic. The next is Drita Abdiu, State Secretary for European Affairs of Republic of North Macedonia. Ma'am, please take your seat. Then we have Mr. Radovan Bogojevic, Acting General Director of Multilateral Affairs in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Montenegro. He can take his place on a panel. Also, we have Ilir Becaj, General Director of Albanian State Agency for Strategic Programming and Aid Coordination. Sir, please take your seat. Coming in. Then we have Mr. Vasilos Tselios, Expert Minister Counselor, Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Hellenic Republic Greece, National Coordinator for EUSAIR. And then we have Mr. Andrea Gasconia, Adriatic and Balkan Director at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of the Republic of Italy, Italy National Coordinator for EUSAIR. Well, you can go on the other end if you would like. Sir, can I ask you to go on the other end because you have a microphone there and I will take it. Yeah, it's going to be easier for you. You can take one of those. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to start with our panel, and I have questions for you, and we will start with Mr. Konakovic, but questions are same for all of you. So the first question is, EUSAIR is one of the few cooperation instruments in the region where EU and non-EU countries cooperate on equal footing on common priorities, particularly on aspiration of its 5 WB members to become members of the EU. What is added value of EUSAIR in facilitating the enlargement? The second question for you, Minister, is how could EU member states, which are at the same time member of Adriatic Ionian Initiative and EUSAIR, ever more strongly advocate in the whole EU and acceleration of the European integration process in the Western Balkans? And the third one is how could stronger cross-border projects of non-EU and EU members of the AII EUSAIR contribute to the further progress of the European integration process, and how could the visibility of the cooperation be increased at the EU level? All questions are same for all participants, so after Minister Konakovic, probably we can go with the next one, whoever is ready to answer these questions.
The answers will be in English. Why we have these, like, we will communicate in English, if I'm right, huh? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the key word actually in this platform is dialogue, I think. First of all, I have to share one more time my impressions actually from Brussels. We went together, my friend Grlić Radman and myself. And the enlargement is the other key word, you know, because now at this moment, unfortunately, because of crisis in Ukraine, aggression on Ukraine, we have a new momentum in European community, and I think all members of European community now, they're thinking the same about the enlargement of European community. So this platform, EUSAIR, is really helping to the non-member states to develop the dialogue actually and to use some help from the countries they are already members of European community. They're helping us to develop dialogue mechanism. Actually, their experiences are really useful for our administration, and we are using that opportunity at this time. Beside that, we have, of course, really good bilateral relations, but I think it is much easier when we discussing on this platform actually some experiences from European member states. Cooperation mechanism allow us a comprehensive and inclusive approach towards regional development. I have to say one more time, priority of Bosnia and Herzegovina is beside our membership in European community is political stability in the region. So we are putting that on the top priority. That was the reason why we visited first our neighbors, actually Croatia, Serbia, Montenegro, North Macedonia. We're gonna travel to Slovenia very soon because the political stability of this region is really important for Bosnia and Herzegovina, because we understand your concern. The member states, actually, they are concerned about chemistry in this part of Europe. If we don't show we can cooperate together in economy or some other fields, we cannot expect you to actually understand these misunderstandings on the field of Western Balkans countries. So for the beginning, I have to say one more time, dialogue, so experience, sharing of experience, and let's hear my colleagues what they have to say. Thank you.
Minister Grlić Radman, you want to take next?
Thank you very much, and I fully agree what Elmedin said. And 2 days ago we met in Brussels. We had an exchange with our other foreign ministers of the Western Balkans, and it was really a fruitful discussion. However, there is a need on normalization on relations between Pristina and Belgrade, but when it comes to Bosnia and Herzegovina, Bosnia and Herzegovina is on the really good way to the EU. And but first, let me just to start with by expressing my sincerely pleasure being here with you today in Sarajevo. It's not my first time, and it will not be my last, however. And I also want to thank you, Elmedin, Bosnia and Herzegovina, for organizing this very important 8th EUSAIR Forum, and thank you for hosting us, for kind hospitalities. Given the circumstances in the last 1 year, it was, you did really hard work. Congratulations. It was not easy. work. You had an elections, you had an formation of the government at the state level, federal level, however, but you succeeded. And of course, you steered strategic successfully during the this 1 year period. When it comes to enlargement, Croatia strongly supports the enlargement of the Western Balkans. But of course, on own merit-based actually activities and results. Croatia is vocal proponent of the European perspective of Bosnia and Herzegovina. It is visible. It is our national strategy. Croatia fulfilled all its foreign policy goals, strategic goals, what remains the stability of the Western Balkans. But having in mind that Croatia, sharing the common border with Bosnia and Herzegovina, it's more than 1,000 kilometers, it's up to us to help and to assist Bosnia and Herzegovina to be to fulfill the same criteria, benchmarks like Croatia did before accession in the European Union. Even this year, we will be celebrating 10th anniversary of accession to the EU. And I must say that it deserved. And the same perspective, the same values, what we share among the European family, we would like to see also in Bosnia and Herzegovina. And I rest assured, Elmedin and Bosnia and Herzegovina, that you will have a Croatian support all the time during your preparation. And from the optimistic point of view, having in mind that you get the candidate status for EU membership, we would like to see you and to start with the negotiation already next year. Yes, today I am here and with my delegations, 2 ministers, Minister of Regional Development, EU funds, Mr. Šime Erlić, Minister for Social Policy and so on, Mr. Marin Piletić. So we are quite in a big delegation, and of course my colleagues here. It's just a sign of our readiness and support, Croatian support to Bosnia and Herzegovina. Once again, what remains? Croatia fulfilled all its foreign policy goals. It's stability of Bosnia and Herzegovina, prosperity of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Croatia, for the very beginning, respect the territorial integrity of Bosnia and Herzegovina, sovereign state on the way to the EU. Of course, today, we'll just take on the presidency symbolically, but formally in less than 1 week or in 1 week. We will do our utmost to carry the good work forward. Our aim is to complete the revision process during our presidency, as already mentioned before. One of the important points we have to keep in mind during the process is how to use our strategy better, even better, to complement better the EU accession process. It's a good instrument, good leverage, political leverage. Croatia is very familiar, of course, with the EU accession process, as I mentioned, and our experience are fresh and relevant. In multilateral fora where EU members and non-members work as equals, such as this strategy, or the Adriatic and Ionian Initiative, main benefits of this cooperation are capacity buildings and networking. sharing experience, best practices and policies, knowledge, creation of networks of friends and partners, building of trust and confidence, trust, it's very important, trust, and are all extremely valuable benefits for any EU membership aspiring country. As we are currently in the process of revision of our strategy, we should use this momentum and look how to align our strategy more closely to the EU accession negotiations. Some areas of the EU acquis are not the domain of the strategy, however, such as the fundamentals or the internal market, but some areas clearly are, such as the sectorial clusters. Strategy should reflect this strategy, modern, revised strategy, should reflect more clearly new European Union priorities, such as digital and green transition, connectivity agenda, and the most relevant issue at the moment, the one on energy transition and resilience. Energy independence is crucial, and phasing out our dependency on oil, gas from other third countries remain crucial and very important. It is not by accident that Croatia decided to double down its capacity on LNG terminal in Krk from now, present, 2.9 BCM up to 6.1. It is up to us to become a regional hub, energy hub, and to help also to help our neighbors, not only in the Southeast Europe, but of course the Middle Europe, Western Europe, and all the countries who are interested in, and it showed several months ago when we organized a trilateral with Slovenia and Austria.
Minister, can I ask you, please, to come to conclusion, because we have other panelists too, and we have a large area to cover.
Okay, thank you very much. I was really unprepared with my statement, however, but okay, I can just later on to finish my statement.
I will provoke you to say a few more things.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good.
Observations also.
We'll try to get another round for you. Minister Jevšek of Slovenia, floor is yours.
Thank you very much, colleagues, ministers, excellencies, dear delegates. First of all, thank you for excellent organization of this event and warmly hospitality. I have one question. Can you speak in local language? It's a problem.
If you want, you can.
On translation?
Yeah, translation.
Okay.
Translation is...
Drago mi je.
I can translate. If it's in Slovenian, I can translate.
Mislim da je veoma značajno da govorimo jezik države u kojem se nalazimo. Dapače je engleski veoma značajan, da se razumijemo svi. Danas je bilo...
Can you hold just for a second, because I'm seeing that a lot of people are just taking their earphones in, so just let them give a 30 seconds. I see most of earphones in, but we'll give them another 10-15 seconds to get
I will continue.
Yeah.
Danas je bilo oko Jadransko-jonske inicijative toliko značajno kazano i zapravo nemam ništa značajno dodati. Značajni govornici na čelu sa komisarkom Ferrerom su, znači, rekli sve. Ja bih možda za mali intermezzo nešto kazao o mojoj ličnoj priči. Ja sam bio u Sarajevu prvi put 2009. godine i pio sam vodu na Baš čaršiji kod Begove džamije i prijatelj mi je rekao ti ćeš se vratiti u Sarajevo. Ja sam rekao ma nemoj. Od 2012 do 2014 radio sam kao long term expert u Sarajevu u projektu Law Enforcement Support za Bosnu i Hercegovinu. Danas sam ovdje tu kao ministar za koheziju i regionalni razvoj i veoma sam ponosan i sretan pošto sam opet u Sarajevu. A sad, što se tiče same inicijative. Poznato je da Slovenija jako potpire uključivanje zapadnog balkanskih država u Europsku uniju i to veoma jasno pokažemo i to je pokazuje naš premijer kad je bio prije nekoliko dana ovdje u Sarajevu i zbog toga sam ja i ovdje danas tu sa vama. To znači da će suport Slovenije u pridruživanju biti jači i jači jer se jako nam je jasno šta to znači za budućnost Europe. Jadransko-jonska inicijativa je zapravo izvanredan mehanizam kako države članice EU i nečlanice EU može zajedničko da počnu neki proces približivanja na području korištenja EU sredstava. Veoma je značajno oko svih ciljeva koji su bili ispostavljeni, a najznačajnije je ta da smo uključili mlade u svoje redove. Ja sam jučer bio sa 50 mladih koji su ovdje sa nama i pozdravljam ih i oni su oko projekta POPRI zapravo, ja mislim da prvi put kao neposredni učesnici tog samita. Ja sam kao gradonačelnik dugogodišnji, sad kao ministar prepoznao jednu činjenicu. Mi često kažemo mladi su naša budućnost. Ne, dragi moji, mladi su naša sadašnjost. Tu su sa nama i moramo ih uključiti zato da će raditi za budućnost. Ja mislim da je cilj uključiti mlade u tu inicijativu veoma značajan i dajmo raditi na tome ne samo na papiru, nego u stvarnosti. Slovenija se zahvaljuje Bosni i Hercegovini za sve što je uradila za vrijeme predsjedavanja i apsolutno potpire hrvatsko predsjedavanje i uključivanje socijalne komponente u tu inicijativu. Mi ćemo potpirati tu inicijativu i ja se radujem pošto mislim da je ova inicijativa Jadransko-jonska ona inicijativa, kao što je rekla naša komisarka, koja budi optimizam u nama. Moramo surađivati, poštovati drugoga, zemlja zemlju, naše stavove i radujem se toga što ću biti dio toga. A sada da zaključim, poslije ove konferencije ja idem na Baš čaršiju da popijem još čašu te vode. Hvala.
Hvala ministre, nadamo se da... I will answer to minister in Bosnian quickly. Hvala što ste tu i nadamo se da ćete doći ponovo. I said to Mr. Minister that we thank him for being here and we hope that he will come very soon again to Sarajevo. If I can ask Ms. Abdiu to take the floor next.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Dobro jutro svima. Allow me to commence my intervention by extending my warm greetings to my fellow panelists. It's an honor to share this podium with you today. Sincere congratulations to our colleagues from Bosnia and Herzegovina for all the achievements during their chairmanship with EUSAIR and Adriatic and Ionian Initiative. We are fully aware that it was a challenging task, in particular the discussions related to the ongoing revision of the strategy and its action plan. I am most certain, nonetheless, that all of us, the EUSAIR countries, will continue to work with dedication on finding common solution and reaching agreement on this extremely important undertaking during the upcoming Croatian presidency. Having said this, I would like to wish our Croatian colleagues a successful work in the coming year. On the subject of the added value of EUSAIR in facilitating the enlargement, one of the, I would say, most important characteristics of EUSAIR, which differs from the remaining three macro-regional strategies, is that the EU member states are outnumbered by non-EU countries. Therefore, we can note that clear recognition of significance of the enlargement throughout the key EUSAIR documents and developments, which categorizes the EUSAIR high among the instruments that bring value added to the process. There is, of course, room for improvement, especially, as the Minister mentioned, when it comes to setting more clear linkage between the chapters of the acquis and the usage of EU funds on one side, and the EUSAIR priorities on the other side. EUSAIR nurtures a number of possibilities that can reinforce the accession efforts of the countries of the Western Balkan region. The strategy represents multi-regional, multi-level, multi-sectorial creation, a common playfield where the participants, EU accession countries, are presented at equal footing with the EU member states. It's a good exercise. The positive cooperation examples between and among EU countries, their good practices, experiences are being spilled over to the Western Balkans region, inspiring for us discussions in good spirit that lead towards finding solutions to important political issues and reaching an understanding on matters of common interest. I would also like to mention that promotion of all stakeholders, their involvement, is one of the key principles of the strategy and has a significant impact in increasing the accountability of the governments in the Western Balkans and contributes to consolidate democracy in our region. These are the fundamentals we all strive towards achieving. So if we go into depth, number of other highly relevant complementarities between EUSAIR and the enlargement process will raise to the surface. Therefore, we, the Western Balkans, should use to the maximum extent possible the value that EUSAIR brings to the enlargement process and work closely together in further enhancement of our positions. So I know we need to sum up all the three questions. Now, except being a state secretary, I'm also the deputy chief negotiator for North Macedonia with the EU. Therefore, when I heard accelerated integration, it sounded very good. That's the new sexy word in the Commission between the aspiring countries and everywhere. So one of the most interesting parts of the new enlargement methodology is the potential for accelerated integration and phasing in to individual EU policies, the EU market, and EU programs. This would be coupled with increased funding and investments, including through performance-based and reform-oriented EPA support, and closer cooperation with IFIs to leverage the support. So on the question on what the EU member states of EUSAIR can do, actually there are concrete things how we can approach this, because the whole new methodology, I think it's a process of learning by doing, by being new for both sides. So what can be done is to explore how to make use of full potential of current enhanced accession methodology, including accelerated integration and phasing in for different countries in different ways, to see which policy areas appear suitable and purposeful for further reapproachment of candidate countries to the European Union, and how the EU institutions and member states can step up to support for the candidate countries. Because some of the colleagues burned my opening line with Schuman, I will just close in the end with the motto of EU, United in Diversity, and nothing shows more the diversity than this forum. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Abdiu. If we have Mr. Bogojevic on panel, he can take next, or Mr. Becaj from Albania can take floor next. Mr. Becaj. Floor is yours.
Mirdita.
You can go.
Faleminderit dhe mirë se u gjetëm në Sarajevo. Po shnakun e parë Unë e kam takuar në vitin 1986 në Izmir. Halilogjit. Ka qenë dhe personi më i gjatë që kam njoftur ndonjëherë. Që nga atëherë jam shumë i kënaqur që sot jam për herë të parë në Sarajevo, dhe më pëlqen shumë. U bën 4 pyetje, në fakt besoj pyetja e dytë nuk është për në vendet kandidate. I switch in English? Or?
Yeah, you should switch in English
I
because
thought that we decided.
no, that was only for.
Okay, sorry. So,
That's okay. That's okay.
we are not EU members, so I understand that. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for welcoming us in the beautiful city of Sarajevo. The first Bosnian person I have met in 1986 in Izmir, Halilogic. It became a famous basketball player. For me, on that time, was the tallest person that I have seen. Now I am today in its home country, and once again, thank for organizing this event. 4 questions were raised, but I believe the second one is not for us, non-EU member countries, because you were asked. Because, in fact, by listening to the second question, I was thinking not all bad things comes for bad, because it was said here, even it is a little bit cynical, even to listen, that due to a war out of the region won the political momentum. But this is also to make us understand that this is the real politics. So we have to benefit from this momentum. When it comes to the enlargement, I believe there are 2 pillars, the acquis and the convergence. On the acquis, what we do and we continue to do, I believe, Chapter 5, 13, 18, 22, 32 directly help us in the process of acquis, which I believe also will be developed individually on a merit-based. I believe at least us as Albania, we are not asking for anything for granted. On the convergence, I believe the strategy could and has to do more. Albania has 75% of exports to EU. Albania has 54% of imports from EU. And even if we see our 5 countries, all our borders are within the so-called internal market. So I believe that much more could be done and have to be done in facilitating the trade and transport. We are running an exercise right now within our countries, and we have already seen the benefits, which is measurable. I believe that at least EU, brought through the member countries of EUSAIR, which are someone who surrounded us, much more has to be done in facilitating trade and transport. Last year, besides connectivity, energy security became an important issue for all of us. And all our countries are part of the Ionian Adriatic gas pipeline, and many efforts has to be done also. We are building some offshore LNG capacities as well, first to be introduced through TAP to Italy and Europe, but also on the Ionian Adriatic corridor. But I believe as Northern European countries was gathered together 1 month ago to think about wind energy for Europe, I believe all our region could provide much more through solar to all Europe, but for this are needed much more investment and a more active approach from the Energy Secretariat. And if we see how financial instruments available to us, which are IPA national, cross-border, regional, Interreg, WBF, all of those should be harmonized with the action plan that we has to adapt with the revision of our strategy. And I strongly believe that among the 4 pillars, enlargement, now that all the non-EU member countries has progressed politically on the European integration agenda, should become an evident pillar of the new strategy. Thank you.
Mr. Vasilios Selios of Greece, floor is yours.
Thank you, Your Excellencies, Ministers, distinguished colleagues. Let me first thank Bosnia and Herzegovina for hosting this meeting, but mostly congratulate for a very high standard organization of the meeting, which is actually a challenge for the next chairmanships. Now, speaking about the role of EUSAIR or macro-regions in general, we know that much by way of regional integration, both within the Western Balkans itself and with the EU, takes place outside the specific framework and procedures of the accession negotiations. This may be participation of candidates in EU programs, such as Erasmus, Horizon, or specific areas of gradual integration through regional cooperation. The pillars of the EU strategy for Adriatic-Ionian region, as well as, I think, the priorities of the Danube region, reflect EU policies, but also the overall cooperation between the EU member states and candidates, so they can be used as pilot project policies for the accelerated gradual access of the Western Balkan partners, as they possess the potential to leverage reforms and enhance cooperation in the respective areas. Macro-regional strategies can contribute to accelerated integration and phasing into individual EU policies, such as fisheries, energy, environment, and even the advantage of the EUSAIR as macro-regional strategy is that it can deliver on the ground, so the citizens of the Western Balkans, through projects of the strategy, can see the multi-level governance and some really real results. Strategy has also the potential to strengthen the ownership and the sense of belonging. Therefore, it should make best use of what is available. This might be funds, knowledge, capacities, which means that all stakeholders must take responsibilities. Now, regarding the advocation, well, the EUSAIR provides a framework for cooperation in its pillars, and we believe that the completion of projects and their proper visibility is a strong message to Brussels that the countries are ready to accelerate the accession process. And at this point, let me refer to some information, is that I was pleased, and I think that you will be pleased to hear that a big percentage of the actions of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Greece refers to the cooperation with the Western Balkans and their support to the European path. Now, regarding your last question, the cooperation among EU and non-EU members for the implementation of projects demanding close cooperation among partners in order to produce specific and tangible results, and it contributes to the further progress of the European integration process, thus enhancing the operational capacity of implementing entities and organizations by reducing legal and administrative barriers to cooperation. Adoption of EU legal and functional framework facilitates the accession process of the candidate countries to the European Union. It is also important that the visibility increases. Therefore, communication activities should aim at showing to the citizens of the candidate countries and of the EU as well how a project and its implementation contributes to the European integration. The activities to be undertaken can vary depending on each and every project, and they should include at least a detailed communication plan, as it is the case with the EU external action funding instruments of the current period. I'm referring to NDC and to IPA 3. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gascoigne, floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I see there is appetite for a second round of questions, so I will try to go quickly through some points since many of the topics have been already said. First, let me bring to all participants the warm greetings of Minister Antonio Tajani, who could not attend today, but is in spirit definitely with us today. I would like to also very much commend Bosnia and Herzegovina for the incredible effort in its chairmanship and for having really given a priority to the EU enlargement. In our consideration, when we talk about EUSAIR, I think we have to keep in mind one important issue, and it's when we work on blue economy, on environmental protection, on connectivity, on tourism, we don't just foster cooperation among our countries. Actually, we try to do something more. We try to merge our countries together into a pre-integration process. And that's the real character of EUSAIR. It's its EU framework, which is centered on the European integration process of the strategy. Now, there are two facts which are very important in our view. The first one was recalled also by previous speakers. When you look at countries from the Western Balkans region participating in the strategies, today they all enjoy the EU candidate status. 4 out of 5 are already in the negotiating process. Hopefully, Bosnia and Herzegovina will also join this important phase. Now, but there is another fact which is also very important. If you look at the EU side of the strategy, you have 4 EU member states, Italy, Croatia, Slovenia, and Greece, who are passionate advocates of the EU enlargement process and who actively promote an acceleration of the integration process. So this is the perfect combination to make this strategy an active lobby in supporting the European integration process of the Western Balkans. Minister Konakovic, I think, framed it perfectly in his opening remarks. We really see a new momentum in enlargement policy. There is a clear understanding that the war in Ukraine has been a game changer also for enlargement. There is an understanding that we need to revitalize what's been always in the past, the vision of the enlargement as a geostrategic investment for the European Union. But we need to deliver, and what we need the most is, of course, acceleration, not just in the negotiation, which remains a merit-based process, as it was said also by Minister Grlić-Radman, and it's a lengthy process, it's an adaptation process that requires time. But as also North Macedonia underlined, we need to look at those measures that help this country to early integrate in the European Union. And that's where I think EUSAIR comes in, because by working on territorial cooperation, on cohesion policies, we actually provide concrete opportunities for early integrations of Western Balkans to the European Union. Now, the strategy has entered in a very important phase. It was recalled the revision of the action plan, which in our view provides the opportunity to focus the strategy on with a more strategic approach on the EU enlargement goal in order to provide concrete results, and this is the added value of the strategy. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Those are answers for the first round of questions. I'll have a quick question for Croatian Minister Grlić-Radman, and then I'm going to ask Mr. Konakovic to close the panel. Mr. Radman, both you and Minister Konakovic highlighted the meeting in Brussels, which just happened. We know that for years, European Union is saying that they will include the Western Balkans ministers in ministerial councils such as Foreign Affairs and GAC. So should we expect now after this meeting that we will see more such meetings in Brussels in the future to make that feeling that the Western Balkans is really closer to Brussels than to other areas or cities in the world?
Thank you very much for your excellent question. I like to see that it is very important what you mentioned. But first of all, 2 days ago we had, of course, this meeting, but it was not the first one. Unfortunately, the last one was in last year. And bearing in mind the Russian aggression and the situation in Ukraine, give us the opportunity to be more present in Western Balkans. Western Balkans should not be neglected, and given the circumstances in the region and beyond. And it is up to European Union to have more instruments and leverage to show its presence in the Western Balkans. So not only Croatia, but there are some others like-minded countries who just support the idea to meet even not only one year, but to have frequent meetings with the ministers, foreign ministers of Western Balkans, and to have an exchange. It's very, very important. With the more we meet, the more we can just reduce some misunderstandings that are still there. Southeast Europe is the part of Europe which belongs to the European Union. There's no doubt. But of course, every country, every state in Western Balkans, or all the Western Balkans, should promote the regional policy and, of course, the good neighborly relations among the Western Balkans. And, of course, with the neighbors who are members of the European Union. It's not Croatia. Croatia, from the historical point of view, we have the experience, we have expertise, we share common history, and we know the region more than other countries in the European Union. And also, we are more interested in this regard to have a stable, functional, and Western Balkans based on the democracy principles. And of course, the Western Balkans countries should also we should see the alignment with the European common foreign and security policy. It's very important. It was the message sent by Mr. Borrell in his introductory speech. He would like to be, if the countries of the Western Balkan will follow the European way, or they have just not to show it. They have, it is the situation right now happening in Ukraine. We have all the countries of the Western Balkans should be on our page of the history, and to condemn the Russian aggression, because it's an attack on one country against another sovereign country. And it is something that the countries on the West Balkan to show readiness and solidarity. So I hope that we'll have meetings frequently with the Western Balkans minister, but I hope that Minister Konakovic will be also invited in person for some exchange very soon.
Thank you, Minister. And Minister Konakovic, closing statement, please.
Thank you, Esmir. Let me tell you how these countries from this platform, EUSAIR platform, are already advocating actually for the Western Balkans countries through few examples actually. During this session in Brussels, I was explaining how difficult are reforms we are doing in Bosnia and Herzegovina. They're really important. We see our future into the European community, of course. Our final destination is Brussels, but it's not easy. Like dealing with the reforms, our economy has a lot of problems, because we are not strong economy to compete with strong European unique market. And then through example, like we were producing 75% of milk 2 years ago, which is used here in Bosnia and Herzegovina 2 years ago. The last year was 43%. So our domestic industry, agriculture, is hit it hard, like with the strong European market and the companies. I also explained visa issues. We have to align our visa regime with the European community, and on the other side, we have a lot of opportunities on East. let's say, in GCC countries. There are many tourists, they want to come to Bosnia and Herzegovina, but aligning the visa regime with the European community, we are losing a lot of them, maybe tens, maybe hundreds of millions. And we are not compensated on the other side. And while I was explaining this in Brussels, I saw Minister Grlić-Radman, also Minister Dendias, Minister Tajani, approving and moving their heads so because they understand what I'm talking about, you know. I didn't see Tanya Fajon because she was flying. She's always flying somewhere, and it was my colleague. She's in the air more than on the ground, but I know she understands also because in our bilateral conversation we explained, and that is a help we need at this moment from our friends from this platform and our friends from the region, you know. So all other problems we have now and these beautiful words like early integration and accelerated process of integration is the future of this country. But we also need something now, something concrete, because we need to show to the people here in this part of the world that European family and European future is worthwhile immediately, not only in the future. And I hope you do understand, and I hope some conclusions from this panel will also be used to advocate in the future also for Bosnia and Herzegovina and other countries from West Balkans territory. We know we are using momentum. Unfortunately, it happens because of Ukraine. And of course, we are also aware of our mistakes. We know we didn't deliver. I'm now telling only about Bosnia and Herzegovina. Last decade, we spent delivering nothing from 14 key priorities, but we started already. In these 3 months, it was nice to participate in this meeting because many of the participants, they understood and they actually agreed that something is happening, something is moving in Bosnia and Herzegovina. We started, and with your help, I'm sure we can continue this European path much faster than it was before, but it is also, at the end, a dialogue, communication, change of experience between EU and non-EU member countries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. On a panel, Minister Grlić-Radman.
I'm going to provoke him to say a few
No. Just because it was impressive and from your statement, your intervention there, and I do remember when you said final destination is Brussels. I want to say that really it's good momentum. Seize the day, use this opportunity, and you are on the good way towards European Union. And convince please the political leaders in the country that the future of Bosnia and Herzegovina, the better life for the peoples, for its citizens in the European Union, where we are, and we can witness that so how is in Slovenia together with Croatia. And once you are in the Schengen zone, you can just drive your car, you will start with driving from Sarajevo and to stop somewhere in Berlin, if you have enough.
Okay, we have another intervention from Slovenia.
Now we started with the panel.
No. I have to apologize our Minister of Interior Affairs, Tanya Fajon, because, yes, she's flying a lot, but for one big reason. Because we are candidates for United Nations Security Council.
Oh,
and
she's lobbying, that's the reason.
She's working a lot last year, and I hope that all countries will support us. We need 129 votes. And otherwise, we're supporting enlargement process, and as I said, if Tanya is there or not, we are with you.
Well, let me just say one thing, then you can succeed Albania. Minister, go ahead.
Just one more information. Actually, I met Tanya 2 days before they conferred me on this position. So she's always one step in front of us, you know. I met her 2 days before I became Minister of Foreign Affairs officially. So I understand why.
But me too.
Yeah, so that's her approach.
Okay, that's final words from Minister Grlić-Radman. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much, and thank you to panelists for their wise words.